Hey guys, good morning. Today's Friday, and today is day 8 post mastectomy for me. Actually, maybe it's, yeah, I think it's 8 or 9. It was a week ago Wednesday. Today's Friday. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of check in. I had a really busy week with doctor's appointments, and I just kind of wanted to fill everybody in because I'm getting so many questions and comments, and I just appreciate you guys following up. I decided to do an early morning Facebook Live today because today my friend Stacy's coming and we're going to get our hair done because, like, look at this situation. I am allowed to shower. I took my first official full body normal person shower today, but I still can't really wash or do my hair because I have very limited arm movement. I can really only go this high. I can't raise my arms any higher. So it's a little annoying to try to do my hair. So my friend Stacy is amazing. She's going to take me to go get my hair done in a little while. So I just thought I would do an early morning, hi Dee, an early morning video. So let me tell you guys about this week. It started on Tuesday. I went to go see my plastic surgeon. So there's like a lot of doctors involved in all of this. And it's like, it's so funny because even my family that I talk to every day, they're like, wait, which doctor is this again? So there's a plastic surgeon, there's a breast surgeon, there's oncologists, there's all different doctors that are involved in all this. So my first follow-up was with my plastic surgeon. And so when you have the surgery, you have 4 drains that come out the sides of your body to help the body can't absorb all the fluid that's being created with all the swelling and the damage that's done. So the drains actually like drain out the fluid, and they're the most annoying part of the surgery, believe it or not. They are not super comfortable, and they kind of hang, and they're bulky, and they're really annoying. So they usually come out between a week or 2 after the surgery, depending on how your body's handling the draining. And luckily for me, mine went pretty quickly, so I was able to get them out on Tuesday. And it's not terribly painful when they pull them out, except for that last one really got me. So they took out 3, and then that last one was really painful. And I kind of said to the nurse, like, is it hot in here? Like, all of a sudden I feel really hot. And before I knew it, they had me with my legs up and giving me water. They were a little afraid I was going to pass out, and I can't lie to you, I was a little afraid too. And it's weird because I have a pretty strong stomach for this stuff, but that one just, the drains really got me. I don't know, they were really gross and uncomfortable. So, but they came out, and once they come out, you start feeling like a more normal person because you can wear some more normal clothing, and you don't have all these things hanging off of you and out of you. And so that was a really great appointment. My next appointment with him is Tuesday, and that's when they start filling the expanders. So I had expanders put in at the time of surgery, and yesterday I had posted, like, does anybody have any questions about my procedure and whatnot? And there were some questions actually, so this is going to answer one of those questions. Somebody, they asked me, do you make your reconstruction decisions before your initial surgery? I know you have expanders in, but do they put them in immediately for everyone? And if not, what is it about your case that made it okay to make that decision before you got your results back? Does that make sense? And it does make sense. That's from Julie. I can't answer this for everybody. What I'm finding out is that everybody's journey is so completely different. It's kind of crazy. But based on what the breast surgeon and the plastic surgeon saw in me, they felt that I was a good candidate for immediate expanders. Now, I had gotten another opinion from a different hospital, and they wanted to go straight to implant. But what I'm understanding is that there's a more natural look when you go to expanders first. And this is how expanders work. They once a week will fill them up. So I right now have 180 cc in my expander, so I do have little boobies. But every week they will fill them up another 60 cc once a week for the next 4 weeks. So I will get an additional 240 cc. Now, if anybody out there has had breast augmentation, this doesn't correlate to like what you're doing because you have breast tissue. I have no breast tissue at all anywhere. So the numbers don't correlate the same way. But I will get filled up another 240 cc, and from there they will decide if I can do more, or even if I want to do more. I have to kind of see how it looks on my body. But the point is that they fill the expanders a little bit larger than what your implants will be, so that when you put your implants in, you'll have a little bit of natural kind of hang or droop, so that it helps with the shape of the breast and it makes it look more natural. So the expanders do that. And so my understanding is when you have expanders and then go to implant, it's annoying because you have to have another surgery. But my understanding is that it's a better look, it's more natural, and it's a little bit easier on your body in the way that you're expanding slowly versus like just putting an implant in. And the implants are behind my muscle. So what I have here and what I see is like my little boobies is really my pectoral muscle and the expander behind it, which is why I'm having trouble moving my arms. So I'm doing physical therapy now to try to raise my arm all the way up. This is as far as I can go right now. And the reason I can't go any higher is because my pectoral muscle is so tight that it's not even painful to lift it up more. I just literally can't. I have to teach my muscle to get a little bit more stretched out. So I'm doing physical therapy 5 times a day, every day at home, to get my movement back. And this is actually good because when I first came out of surgery, I could only lift it like an inch off my body. So for a week out, I made some good progress there. So yeah, John David, JDP says, science is so cool. It's really pretty amazing. I mean, you really have like no appreciation for science until you start doing something like this, and you can see how much advancement has been made over the past bunch of years, and how amazing it is. So that's my journey right now with the plastic surgeon. So my first fill, or as I like to say, my first puberty appointment is on Tuesday. And from what I understand, it can be a little bit uncomfortable, maybe even a little painful. But whatever, so is this whole journey. So it's just another day of the journey. And I'll be okay with that. That's sort of the kind of exciting part of it, is like watching the reconstruction and being put back together again. It's kind of like Humpty Dumpty. So being put back together again is kind of the fun part. I'm getting some swelling, and it's uncomfortable, the swelling, especially like kind of around my side and my back. I get very swollen at night, but that's really the most pain I have now. It's just a very tight stretching feeling, a little bit of pain. I am not on any major painkillers anymore. I'm just taking Advil now, which is great. And yeah, so I feel like in a week I've made a ton of progress. And it's like kind of amazing because I've heard from so many people, and I've read so many horror stories about like people being like, it's the worst surgery ever, and I'm in so much pain, and I'm, this and that, and I'm feeling really good. So I'm not trying to like trump anybody. I just kind of want to put that out there for anyone that might be having the surgery one day soon. It was not as bad as I expected it to be, and the recovery is going well. And I went shopping with my mom the other day, and we walked around the city a little bit yesterday. Oh, and I have been walking the last 2 days. I've walked 4 miles a day. I'm not like, going up and down hills, and I'm not speed walking, but I'm trying to make sure that I stay active. I think it's really important in recovery that there's a good balance between staying active and resting. So I'm trying to do that. And then yesterday I went back to Sloan for the not so fun doctors. I got to meet the oncologist, which is the cancer treatment doctor. In layman's terms, and I had a follow-up with my breast surgeon. Now, my breast surgeon, let's talk about that first. She is like the sweetest, most amazing lady. Her name is Dr. Van Zee, and she's at Memorial Sloan Kettering. So anybody out there that might be looking for a doctor, I highly recommend her. She is sweet and amazing, and we went over all of my results, and they were pretty interesting, and I'll tell you about those. But also, I don't see her again for another year, which is crazy because she's like, I'm like, I love you. I kind of want to see you. That's so sad. But I guess it's a good thing too. So I lost one doctor yesterday, but I gained 2, which I'll tell you about in a second. So she went over all of the pathology. Now what happens is when you have a double mastectomy, they send out all of the tissue to be looked at. They do a ton of tests, and they check everything. And so all of my cancer was in my right breast, but they also checked the left breast under a microscope to make sure that everything is good. And I also had 2 nodes biopsied from my right side, and I didn't have, I had 2 nodes removed from my right side, and I had biopsies on both sides. So the good news is, I'm going to get to that really fast, but the good news is my nodes are clear, which is a huge triumph, which hopefully means the cancer hasn't spread anywhere else, although they can't guarantee it just from that. That's a big thing to make sure your nodes are clear. My margins are also clear, and that means that they cut around the cancer, and that everything that that's still there is all clear from cancer. So that's also a really big accomplishment. That means they don't have to go back in and cut more out. So that was fantastic news yesterday. And the other good news that I got was that my genetics test came back negative. So that's great news for my daughter. And it's great news for me in the way that I don't have to worry about having a hysterectomy right away as well. So there was lots of good news yesterday. Then there was like interesting news that like doesn't really make a difference now, but it was just very interesting. My cancer in my right breast was a lot larger than they thought that it was. They thought it was about about 3 or 4 centimeters, I think they originally said, and then maybe they said about 4 to 5 centimeters when they felt around and they saw it on the MRI. But the truth was that the mass in my right breast was about 7 centimeters, which is almost 3 inches. It's about 2 3/4 inches, which is kind of big. It's a big tumor and or a big mass. The reason why that's important to know is because the size of your mass changes, first of all, the stage of cancer that you're at, and secondly, the treatment. So I am considered stage 2B, although I don't have cancer anymore, not quite. My breast cancer was considered stage 2B. She was explaining to me it used to be stage 3, but then they kind of changed it around a little bit, so it moved back to 2B, which is fine. I will take that. And that's because there is no evidence in my nodes. However, my tumor is larger than 5 centimeters. So that's what qualifies it as stage 2B. And there's all sorts of things that go into that. What was interesting as well was that they found something in my left breast called LCIS. LCIS is lobular carcinoma in situ. And what that means is that in situ means that the cancer has sort of stayed where it's originated versus invasive cancer that moves outside the area and starts getting into the fibers of the breast. So essentially, there's a little bit of mixed review from what I understand and what I read on the internet about what to do about LCIS. Essentially, it's considered a marker for breast cancer. So if you have it, you don't have breast cancer, but you're like 25% more likely to get breast cancer. And my understanding is, and I may be wrong about this, again, I'm not a doctor, but my understanding about this is if you have this marker and you already had cancer, that your rate goes up even more. So it proves to me that having a bilateral mastectomy, even though they couldn't really see anything in my left breast, was 100% the right decision, because chances are that would have developed into cancer as well. And the LCIS is something sometimes doctors treat or they don't treat. They'll either keep an eye on it or sometimes they try to remove it so it won't turn into cancer. But essentially, it doesn't show up on mammograms and it doesn't show up on sonograms. So you would never know you had it unless you had a mastectomy like I did and they went through all the tissue with a fine-tooth comb. So this cancer that I have, this invasive lobular, is pretty scary. It's very sneaky. Like I said, the MRI showed that this side was like a 4 to 5 centimeter mass and it turned out to be 7 centimeters. So you still can't even get a full picture of it even on an MRI. So it's sneaky. It's ugly, and I'm just very happy to have gotten it out of my body. So that was some of the news that I got yesterday from that doctor. Now, the other doctor that I saw was Oncology, and that is where we start making decisions about chemotherapy and radiation. And I was really, 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 really hoping to go in yesterday and see what was going on and like go, okay, this is our plan. And this is important to me for a couple of reasons. One, it's scary. The thought of chemo and or radiation or both is certainly scary to me. I know that I can do it, and if I have to do it, I will do it. And it's not something anybody wants to do. So I was just kind of hoping like I would have an answer already, which I don't, which I'll explain in a second. Number two, I want to like kind of get my life back together. I want to know, can I get back to work? Can I start booking shoots? Can I start traveling? I have some things in October booked that I really, really, really don't want to miss. So right now I feel like everything's on hold because I'm waiting to hear what my treatment plan is going to be, and it's kind of frustrating. But this whole process is hurry up and wait. Everything about it is hurry up and wait. So sorry, you guys, my eyes drive me crazy today. So it drives me crazy. I will be on tamoxifen for 5 to 10 years, not negotiable from what I understand from the doctors, once whatever treatment I need is done. So for those of you who are asking about hormone blockers, my cancer is very, very highly estrogen and progesterone positive. and they're not sure if it's HER2 negative yet. For whoever understands that, if it means something to you, they're still running more tests on that. They think it's HER2 negative. Typically invasive lobular is, but they got some like mixed results back about that, so they're going to just double check that. Also, my tissue needs to be sent out for what's called an oncotype score. And the oncotype score basically helps decide if I need chemo or not. And what that is, it's about like 20 to 25 different tests on the tissue to understand what the rate of reoccurrence might be. So there's a chart, let's say there's a score, it's like 1 to 18, 18 to 31. I'm making up these numbers, they're close, I think, but and so it's like low, medium, high risk of the cancer coming back. And if you fall into the low area, typically you don't need chemo. If you fall into that middle or the gray area, they typically give it to you. And if you fall into the high area, of course you need chemo. So to do that, it's actually a very expensive test. I look it up, it's about $4,000. I'm certainly hoping my insurance covers it. But they'll give you a score, and the score will basically determine how long you need chemo, what kind of chemo you need, etc. So it'll be another 2 to 3 weeks before I get that test back. And the radiation, I'm right on the border right now. So typically I don't fit any of the qualifications for radiation, except that my tumor and my mass was so large. That alone puts me into the category where I might be able to get radiation. So I have to meet with a special radiation oncologist, hopefully next week. I'm waiting to hear from them to make that appointment. And that they really wanted me to see somebody high up at Sloan that has a lot of years of decision making, because I'm very on the border, I guess. And so I will find out hopefully next week if I need to do radiation. So, and again, when you have something like chemo prior to having surgery, what they're doing is treating the cancer. They're making the cancer smaller, so it's easier to have surgery. When you have it after the surgery, they're doing it as a preventative measure to make sure cancer doesn't come back. So although they're not using words like cancer-free or no evidence of disease or remission or any words like that that you always like to hear, my understanding is that they have gotten as much as they can get. But, you know, cancer cells are super duper tiny, and they could never be sure, even with a double mastectomy, that they get everything. So we're just taking precautions to make sure that I never ever have to deal with this monster again. Hopefully, knock on wood again. So medically speaking, how boring was that? But that's what's going on right now. That's the update. So I really don't have any answers, and I won't have any answers for another 2 to 3 weeks. And normally that would kind of throw me into a tailspin, because I really like to have answers and know what's happening and prepare and plan. But right now I've decided not to stress about it. I am just going to spend the next few weeks relaxing and recovering and healing and getting my new boobies filled up and just, I don't know, I feel so much more like in the moment and in the present than I have in a really long time. Like, I'm really not worried about tomorrow. I'm just doing what makes me happy today. That's one of the gifts that cancer has given me, is to be so much more present, enjoying this moment so much more. So a lot of people reacted yesterday, a lot of friends and family, when I told them. I always tell my friends and my close friends and family what's going on before I put it out on Facebook, because I feel like they have a right to know before, I just kind of announce it on Facebook. But a lot of people were like, well, how are you? How are you mentally? Are you okay? This waiting is awful. And it is awful, but I'm not going to let it bother me anymore. I'm just going to kind of take it day by day. And like I said, do today what makes me happy. And today what makes me happy is going to get my hair done with my friend Stacy and just hanging out and relaxing and some couch time. And I answered a whole bunch of emails this morning for the first time in a week, which was really nice to do, getting back to work a little bit. Hopefully next week I'll be able to work a little bit more. And I want to tell you guys about what happened to me yesterday, the crazy story that happened to me yesterday. So between my 2 appointments yesterday, I had a 9 a.m. appointment with the oncologist and a 3:15 appointment with the breast surgeon. And there was a big gap in between. There was about 4 hours in between when all was said and done. So it's not enough time for me to go home and come back, because I live kind of far from the city. So my husband and I decided we were going to walk around a little bit and go get lunch and, just kind of have some fun. And we were walking on the street, and I wasn't really paying attention, because I was kind of like this, like to make sure nobody bangs into me. Like, if I take an elbow to the chest, I'm done right now. Like, I am so sore and so tender. You can't even breathe on me heavy. It would hurt. So I'm like walking around the city like this, like dodging people all over the place. And I guess this girl was looking at us as we passed, and my husband said, Jen, do you know her? And I turned around, and this beautiful woman comes over to me and says, oh my God, I know you. I saw your Facebook videos about your cancer. You know, how are you feeling? And she showered me with compliments and gave me a hug. And her name is Elkie, so I want to give her a little shout out today. We have some mutual friends, which is how she saw my video. But to be recognized, oops, to be recognized on the streets of New York City for that, first of all, completely blew me away. Like, I mean, there's the 8 million people in New York City. Like, the fact that she knew who I was because of my videos was so touching, and it made me feel like for the first 15 minutes after I saw her, I felt so proud, like my message is getting out there and people are hearing me, and it's touching people's lives. And all of the people that are messaging me this week, like, I got a mammogram because of you, or, you know, I took care of something, and not even cancer related. Like, I've been having other health problems, but I took care of it, or you changed my perspective. Like, the fact that that message is getting out there means so much to me. And then we walked around. And so, like, for the first 15 minutes, half an hour, I was like on a high. I was like, oh my God, that was so amazing. Like, that's just incredible. I just feel so proud of, you know, what I'm doing and that it's helping people. And then for the other 2 hours that we walked around, I actually felt a little sad because I was thinking in my head, like, look at all these women that are passing me right now that didn't hear my message or didn't hear it from somebody else. I know I'm not the only one putting the message out there. Let's be realistic about that. But maybe don't know. Maybe don't know that they're walking around with cancer, or maybe don't know that there's another health problem that they're not listening to, or don't know how to take care of themselves, or are 3 months late for their annual mammo, or whatever it might be. And I realized how many more people out there need to hear the message and need to know. So I am still elated that Elkie recognized me, and I'm not just like in a facial way, but just, you know, kind of gave me that universal, like, you know, hey, high five, you're doing a good thing. Like, the universe was saying to me, yeah, you're right, do this, keep doing this, it's good. But there's still so many women out there that need to know this, you guys. So the more you tell people, you know, the more you share with your friends, and the more you and it doesn't have to be my message. I'm not saying you have to share my video. This isn't about fame. You know what I mean? Like, this is not about recognition or fame. This is just about taking care of women and getting our asses in gear, taking care of ourselves, because holy crap, like, we always take care of ourselves last, always. And you know what? The world needs us. Our kids need us. Our families need us. Our parents need us. Our siblings need us. And I really just want you guys to take care of yourselves and put a smile on your faces and be happy, and know that a mammogram or any test that you need to have that might be scary is not scary at all. Finding cancer is not scary. Finding cancer too late is scary. So I just want to kind of keep saying that over and over and over again. This isn't scary. I feel really good right now. I feel healthy. I feel certainly a little beat up, but I feel really strong, and I feel really really happy right now. And so I want to sort of share with you guys that this could be what having cancer is like sometimes. And I'm not trying to take away from anybody else's experience that maybe is having a tough time, but this can be what cancer is like. It can be powerful. It can be healthy. It can be happy. It can also be sad at moments. But everything in life has that yin yang. So don't be afraid to go get a test, or go make a doctor's appointment, or go get whatever that thing is that you need to get looked at, because the truth of the matter is, treating it and taking care of yourself is not scary. It's extremely empowering, and that's what I'm feeling today. So, you know, I feel a little emotional every time I talk to you guys. I don't know why, but I feel really good. I feel really positive. I'm really happy right now. This situation has brought me and my husband closer. It's brought me and my family closer, me and my friends closer, and I feel very lucky for all of those gifts. So I wanted to share that all with you guys. There was a couple more questions about like family history and risk, and why I had a sonogram instead of just mammograms. This is already 25 minutes, so maybe I'll address that in the next Facebook Live. And I hope you guys are enjoying these. If you're enjoying them, I will keep doing them. many more doctor's appointments next week. So there'll be lots of updates. And maybe I'll even do like a before and after kind of the filling. Not, don't worry, I'm not going to show anybody my boo-boos, as I tell my daughter, but just to kind of give you an idea of, what happens and how I feel with the filling of the expander and what that's really like compared to all the crap you read online. That's the other thing. Like, the shit people put online is so scary. So I've just stopped reading it. I'm just going to have my own journey. And I'm really glad that you're along the way with me. So I hope you guys have, okay, Arima's like, you even made your bed. I am not going to lie to you. I made the corner of the bed. So it looks like I made the bed. But I'm not allowed to make the bed right now because I am not allowed to be using my arms in that way. And I'm not allowed to lift more than 5 pounds for another like 4 weeks, which is super frustrating. But I did really rock that corner of the bed right there. It looks good, right? All right. I love you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Spend it with the ones that you love and doing what makes you happy. I will check in with you next week. Enjoy. Bye.